Yeah. All right. Good. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of TnT Knows It All Sports. Yeah, co-host Ty, and along with me is my man's.
Well, what's going on, everybody?
That's
Tired. I'm in San Fran
right.
on a business trip, but we're doing some content for you guys.
That's right. Yep. Heading. I'm heading overseas. To go on vacation, but want to make sure we got that content out for you guys for this week. So, I got a quick agenda. We all know it's the big game this week, which is the Super Bowl, and we're going to talk about, our thoughts on the Super Bowl, and um, we wanted to wait till the trade deadline, but we right now it is Wednesday morning. Uh, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. And so there's probably going to be trades later in the week, but there's been one huge trade and already, and it's with Kyrie Irving, and we'll talk about that as well. So,
hmm
so let's start off with the Super Bowl. So, I'll let you go, Thomas. Like, what are your thoughts on this Super Bowl? It's the Kansas City Chiefs who beat the Bengals, and it's the Eagles that beat the San Francisco 49ers. And what do you think about what's going to happen in this game?
Yeah. So thanks, Ty. Oh man, I've actually doing some reading and some research. You know how they have the press conferences, injury reports up, and
Mhm.
all those different things, right? So first, I was scrolling through the injuries. It's
Mhm.
2 weeks, right? The biggest injury, of course, would be Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Every player is going to tell you they're 100%. I mean, or well, he didn't say 100% per se, but he said he feels great. He'll put his body out on a line like he did
Mhm.
during the Bengals game. So, so that's just how's his ankle going to do.
Right.
Then you also look at Nicole Harmon is out. He's on IR. He wasn't really a factor, but he's out. And then the running back was his name. Uh,
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
uh, yeah, Larry. Yeah, I'm sorry, Edwards-Helaire.
Mhm.
He's back from IR, but the man hasn't played since what, week 8? I don't even, or week
Yeah.
12, whenever he played. So,
Yeah.
so I look at that. I look at the injury report. Snead is clear. The cornerback, Snead
Mhm.
is clear.
Yeah,
And
that's big.
on the other side, the Eagles are injury free. But also, well, I'm spending some time on here because I'm trying to make a point. So follow me here, guys. The Eagles blew out two teams, so they really. If you actually look at Sanders,
Mhm.
he's actually had less carries than Kenneth Gainwell
Right.
by I think two,
Mhm.
right? So he's fresh. AJ Brown he was being a diva the first game, but he wasn't getting that many targets.
Right. I
Devontae
mean,
Smith, so yeah, so their team has been fresh while the Bengals they played two pretty tough games. So is that the wear and tear going to go on?
mhm.
I just feel the Eagles are a little fresh. In the Super Bowl, you got to be fresh, especially when you're trying. We don't have to be necessarily fresh because obviously you're playing your last game. You can put your 100% out,
Yeah.
but it's always good to have less wear and tear.
Right.
Now, diving into it, this is a very hard game to call. I'm
Yes.
all over the place. So I'll start. I will talk about two focus areas, and I'll pass it on to you. So for me, I don't even want to talk about the quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
That's what everyone's going to talk about. I actually want to talk about the actual the D line and O line.
Mhm.
It's been a theme of mine, but I've
Mhm.
been right the last two games, or actually last two games, last two series that they played for the AFC and NFC, right? The line, right? You got the Kansas City Chiefs, who have the best. It was ranked number 6 on Pro Football, and the Eagles number 3.
Mhm.
They're both, so whose offensive line going to do well versus D line? That's going to be the key to me in that game.
Agreed.
Who's going to put pressure on Mahomes, and who's going to put pressure on Jalen Hurts? Right now, Jalen Hurts hasn't showed us anything in his playoffs,
Right.
right? Because he just handed the ball off, right? So
Yeah.
is he going to get in a time where is he going to have to pass the ball?
Mhm.
I don't know. I just feel Is it going to be the? I hope it is because I have like fantasy players in this thing, but I hope it's a New England and Eagles game where it's a shootout and
Yeah,
has to break all the records. That'll be great
yeah,
for me. So, but I don't know. I just didn't feel it's going to be for the line, and
yeah,
I mean, and it's going to be can the Chiefs run and can Jalen Hurts make those throws because he's gonna have to
yeah.
throw the ball.
Right.
This game, he's gonna have to throw the ball.
Yep.
Less
Because they're
than
gonna,
some,
yeah, they're gonna go man to man, and they're gonna
yeah, you're
press
gonna have to
ahead.
throw it.
Yep.
And you're also not playing against, no offense, the Giants and a quarterback less 49ers where
Mm-hmm.
they're up 20 points at halftime each
Mm-hmm.
game.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to pass the ball. So that's just my take. What do you think?
Okay.
What's your take?
Whew. So, again, I think I was kind of maybe I talked to you about it, but um, I clearly have biases. I was trying to not get my biases about this. So, congratulations on both these teams that get in. I actually think that, of course, every team is flawed that gets in the Super Bowl, that's been in the Super Bowl.
Of course, dude.
But I kind of feel like, again, these teams, I mean, they deserve it, but I don't know. I just not sold on them. Either one,
Who,
even though they
both?
got there. Both teams. I'm just
Oh,
not,
okay.
just interestingly enough, I'm not sold. Like Philly's so dominant, but like you said, I mean, it's kind of like the Giants, then, San Francisco, you saw what happened with I mean, it's like perfect storm for these guys. And then Kansas City, yeah, I mean, hey, they won those games. I mean, Jacksonville decided not to make some plays. Cincinnati had a chance again, and they decided to pick the worst game to play, like their worst game that they could play. Um, and still almost won, right? I'm not, and again, you have to win. You did not taking credit away from them, but it's not like I watch these teams like, yeah, these guys have both been playing on like the top of their level. That would make me come into this game like, yeah, I can see these guys at their best versus these guys at their best, and then let's see what happens. I don't see that when I was watching these two teams. They're the best teams are the ones that they played because they got there. So as I started thinking through this, I was like, okay, this comes down to the team with the best roster versus the team with the best player.
Hmm.
I'm a firm believer normally, even though again, take my biases out. People with the team with the best team usually wins, right? Like that's what kind of happens if you start to look at like history and like these games, especially when it comes
Hmm.
down to defenses, the top number one defenses versus top offenses, number one defenses usually win.
Right.
Because they got more time to prepare. And um, if you're a top defense, you're going to pretty much do well. So as I was thinking about this, this is going to sound stupid, but I was like, I got to find film of the last time that Philadelphia's defense actually played a team that could score. Right? I actually had to
Right.
go back and look. It's been a long time if you think about it. You got San Francisco, then they played the Giants. They played the Giants before that with, backups in. They played the Saints, right? Like
Right.
they didn't play.
Ugh.
So the team before that was the Dallas Cowboys. And so I actually watched, I had it recorded because I was at the game, but I actually watched it, a lot of the Cowboys. And I was like, uh-oh. What I thought that we did against them is why I think Philly might be in trouble defensively. What Dallas did, again, you said you're like, okay, Dallas, I mean, to beat Philly, you got to be able to run the ball with the offensive line. But Dallas said, forget that. We'll try running it just so we keep you honest. But they didn't run it against them that much. What they did is they spread them out. And by
Mm.
spreading them out, they limited that five defensive line set that they always have, and they have those two wides and the three in the middle, and which is really difficult to stop, which
Right.
San Francisco did not do that. and that's why they ended
Okay.
up getting, their quarterback injured. And so by splitting them out five wides, and we made them go four, rush four, and they exploited the hell out of them in the
Right.
inside. CeeDee Lamb was killing them. And by the way, the Eagles, I mean, they didn't have Jalen Hurts, but their defense was completely healthy. So they had everybody. CeeDee Lamb was going crazy. Dalton Schultz, um, they were using the backs out of there to really
Right.
kill him in slants and stuff like that over the middle. So I I actually think they are going to get exposed. I think Andy Reid, you give him 2 weeks to
Right.
to, to prepare. Um, I think that they're going to get exposed. However, I think you're going to get your wish when it comes to a high scoring game. I
Right.
actually think it's kind of opposite of other games where I thought there would be low scoring. I think this game's going to be high scoring. I do not think Philadelphia is going to stop Kansas City that often. And I don't think that Kansas City is going to stop Philadelphia because even though you have 2 weeks, it's just hard to prepare for Philadelphia's team. Like
Right.
it's
Oh, you
going
talking
to be,
about offense?
yeah, offense. It's just hard to
Yeah.
prepare for them, especially when you have such a great offensive line. Like, what are you going to
Right.
do? You know, do you,
Yeah, but Dallas has a better wide receiver core. That's the only. But I mean, I hear you saying, but Dallas has a much better wide receiver core
yeah,
than.
but they do, but they also don't have as good of a quarterback that makes a bunch of reads. Because that's the thing
Yeah.
that I saw. Dak, I mean, guys were just wide open. It's not like they were running amazing routes. Guys were just open because of
Right.
the route combo. The, you know, Andy Reid will scheme the heck out of people, and people are
Right.
going to get open. And you got
Right.
Pat Mahomes. He's gonna figure it out. I think Pat Mahomes is gonna have a huge day. I think he's
Oh,
gonna
I
get
do
like
too.
350 plus yards passing. They're not going to run. They're going to use the running backs because that's what I think really helps because the linebackers, we talked about that with Philly. If you got, the linebackers are good, but they're not like,
Right.
the greatest of all time. And then, in the middle is where you can expose them. Um,
Right.
but anyway, so I'm really interested to see that. But so I think in the line is 1.5. It's like the Eagles are favored 1.5, and people are like that doesn't make sense because the Eagles clearly have a better roster. Like, but then they do. It's like, but if you can, like you said, if somehow I don't know how they're gonna do it, but if somehow they can make Jalen, everyone knows what you need to do, make Jalen Hurts throw the ball,
Right.
then I think that Kansas City will actually win the game. I just don't know if they're gonna be able to do that. So I do think
Mm.
the line is about right. It is a toss-up game. I think it's going to come down to the end, who has the ball at the end,
Right.
and who can make plays. So I
Right.
don't know. Do you have a prediction?
I don't know, but one thing I add is I just don't hope. I hope this Kansas City is not becoming the new Patriots, where they're not even the better team, but they still somehow make the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to go. I'm just not impressed with Kansas City, like you said.
Hmm.
Eagles, I wasn't really impressed, but at least they were 11-0.
Yeah.
So if Kansas City wins, I mean, kudos to Andy Reid.
Yeah.
It'll be his best accomplishment because they got you and I at wide receiver. I swear,
Yeah.
outside of Travis Kelsey. So
Yeah.
I'm going to predict. It's going to be for some reason I have this feeling it's going to be like 31-28 the Eagles.
Hmm.
That's just my kind of my prediction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I see it like very similar to that. I see it like 31-30. And
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to say it because it hurts, but I do think the Eagles are going to win. I think Kansas City's going to play them close and all stuff, but the Eagles have, they don't get their offense, but they got some mojo about them. You know how they were able to beat the Patriots that time with Nick Foles. There's something about them, like the way they got there. Like they're going to come out as house money. I mean, I think they're
Right,
just gonna be out there. They're, like they said, they know their game. They're not gonna be scared. I think they're gonna click on, most cylinders. They won't have to throw the ball all over the place, but then they'll need to make a couple plays here and there at the end. And just like they barely squeaked out a game in Arizona this year,
right.
it's gonna be similar. I think they'll
Yeah,
squeak it out. So 31-30 for me. I do think I'm tempted to taking Kansas City +1,
right.
+1.5.
Well,
But it's a toss-up game.
and you got people with chips to show. Jalen Hurts on a new contract, and Nick
Yeah,
Sirianni apparently, I mean, he's still mad about Andy Reid firing him.
yeah.
So I mean, are they going to use that? You know how highly motivated teams
Hmm.
usually just come in. So yeah, it'll be a good game. We'll talk about it. Watch it be 10-3, and then we're wrong. But
Right.
I don't see it happening 10-3. But
Me neither.
31-28, and I'm hoping
Yep.
not to say, who do you think? Let's predict real quick MVPs. Who do
Ooh,
you think is going to be an MVP?
I
I don't think it's going to be a quarterback, but go ahead, you
me
can
either.
go.
No, I think me either. I would say MVP is going to be Miles Sanders.
Okay, I'm going to say Devontae Smith. That's my MVP.
Okay, I could see that. Yes, I think it's going to be that. And if the Chiefs win, it's going to be Mahomes, of course. I mean, that's just.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
I
Mahomes or
or
Chris
Kelsey,
Jones or something, or yeah, something like that. Chris
because
Jones or
Kelsey,
somebody.
because Kelsey is going to have a day. They got
Mm.
they're good. They have no answer for him. Because remember the San Francisco game we were talking about. Um, what's his name? Uh, Kittle.
Kittle,
He was
Kittle,
wide open so many times, but you know what? They had me out there trying to throw him passes.
Josh Johnson.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
you know,
no,
and
he's going to
then
eat.
yeah, so
He's
he's
going to eat,
going. They have
and
no
that's
answer for him. None,
and I
none.
saved them for my fantasy survivor league. I
Yeah,
saved them. So everyone used Kelsey already. I got Kelsey.
yeah. So anyway, like, hopefully everybody gets to enjoy Super Bowl. I'm gonna hopefully be able to see this in South Africa. Game starts at 1:30 a.m. South Africa
Mm-hmm.
time where I'm going.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'll be pulling for a good game. All
Okay.
right,
Okay.
so the next topic we want to talk about is Kyrie Irving. So this is NBA if people are not aware. Kyrie Irving was formerly of the Brooklyn Nets. Last week we talked about him offering asking for a trade because he was not going to get an extension. So the Brooklyn Nets actually decided to trade him to the Dallas Mavericks for a couple picks and Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith. And also who was included in the trade was Markieff Morris of the Morris twins. Marcus Morris plays for the LA
Okay.
Clippers. So Kyrie's gone. So Thomas, what are your thoughts on Mr.
Yeah.
The world is flat?
Well, Kyrie, of course, he got traded during Black History Month. That's when it wouldn't make sense. But I don't know. So one thing about the NBA, and if you guys don't know, I'm a big like what I call free agents, off season junkie value. I'm that guy that like looks at trade values and looks at
Mm,
trade, in the draft. Like the Bears, for example, not to go back to NFL, but the Bears are looking to trade number one. I like the point system, the Jimmy Johnson point system. And the NBA is interesting because you can never win a trade. The NBA is never, there's no wins. There's always, I feel,
mm,
is losses when it comes
mm,
to superstars. So
mm,
whenever you trade a superstar, you never can make it up because in the NBA, a superstar is a big difference. You remember, there's five players on the court. You got everyone knows basketball, but
mm,
five players on the court. It's unlike other sports where you could trade a baseball, you could trade a pitcher. Okay, you get some prospects. There maybe they're
right,
well. NBA, you try a superstar, you're never going to get the value for it.
right,
Never.
right.
And he got traded for peanuts. No offense, he did. He got Spencer is good, but yeah, I mean Finney, and in 2000, what was it, 2026 and a 2027 first round pick.
It's 2027 and 2029.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2000. Wow, even because the
Yeah,
Rockets got all their picks. I got it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
and the Mavericks are going to have Luca still, so they will be good. Maybe I don't know, maybe 9 years from now, or I'm sorry, 7 years from now, that trade might or be whatever it is.
Yeah.
So they gave him up, right? And so you also got to look at, well, the Nets were like, well, we're going to give him up for nothing because he probably wasn't going to stay long term. So at least let us at least get the value.
Yeah.
So from a value point of view, in the NBA, the bottom line, you never get the value for the person.
Yeah.
Now, what was interesting was I heard a rumor about they were going to trade him to Phoenix for
Mm.
Chris Paul and Crowder.
Mm.
Crowder, Chris Paul for Kyrie. Apparently, there's a rumor, whether it's true or not, it was on Bleacher Report.
Mm.
Now that trade would have been, it still would have been a loss because Kyrie is better talent, and Chris Paul is 38 years old with
Yeah.
2 more years left on his contract at 40 million a year.
Yeah.
But that's more value. So I mean, and it was a lose-lose for them. Now Kyrie goes to Dallas.
Hmm.
What an interesting dilemma is going to be down there.
Yeah. I know.
I don't know Luca, but Luca's the type of dude that looks like he just drinks beers in his backyard and watches deer go by, and that type of person. You know what I mean? Like not.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the conversation going to have about Kyrie. Is Kyrie going to say, "Hey, what are your thoughts on Ukraine?" You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't know. So
Uh,
I don't know. So is he going to shut up and play basketball? I have no idea. Is it? I don't. I mean, it's a good trade for the Mavericks.
yeah.
But you're coming with baggage. So that's just my thought. I mean, I don't. I want, like I said, the Mavericks needed a splash.
Hmm.
So that was a good trade for them. The Nets are fourth place. I think that was good for them. Now they can focus on is if Ben Simmons is going to be that guy, right?
Yeah.
Spencer's still good. He's still a
Yeah.
good player. Good.
Hmm.
So not like they get, but I'm more interested in seeing what the Mavericks look like with Kyrie. That's just my thoughts. We'll see. I don't
Yeah.
know who is again. It's a loss for the Nets, but is it really a loss?
Mm.
Like So, but is it
Right.
really a loss talent wise? But do they get the headache out there? So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
So, man, again, like I said last week, man, just think about uh who the net when the Nets started this whole journey, what they were thinking. They're like, man, we got Kyrie and KD. We're gonna win a championship. Well,
And
first
James
year,
Harden.
yep, I was gonna get to that.
Oh,
Because
my
remember,
bad. Yeah, go
initially, right, it was Kyrie, KD, it was 4 years ago, right? First year, that was when kids KD had tore his Achilles. So he didn't even play. So they're like, oh, we got Kyrie. And Kyrie's like, I'm not gonna play. I'm not gonna go play in the bubble. I don't believe in that. We shouldn't be playing. So he then goes like doesn't and try to convince his teammates not to go as well, right? So there should have been a red flag then, like ting ting ting. The
All
guy's
right.
got a right to everybody's got a right to not go, but he's like, I'm gonna try to convince you guys not to go. And they're like, nah, we're gonna go. We play basketball. Like, we're good.
Right.
So that was start. Then you finally get those guys together on the court. You're like, all right, it's going along. They're doing okay, and then bam, they were able to get James Harden. So you're like, oh, they actually got the Nets have really got a chance. Then there was an injury. Um, things just didn't, seem to work out. And then everybody was killing James Harden. Like James Harden is asking for a trade again. He saw that group and was like, I'm out. I don't got,
Right.
I'm trying to win. Like, I don't got time for this drama. I'm out. I wouldn't say it's necessarily just Kyrie is the reason, but I mean, Kyrie is who he is. I will say that
Nash might have been, but
yep, Nash. I think it's the organization. The organization they've been enabling these people to do all this stuff. So,
mhm.
um, to defend Kyrie, sometimes you need, like I said before, you need to sometimes uh help these superstars out to help themselves. Like
Mhm.
they don't know what they need. Like you need to help them. And I don't think Brooklyn did that. So they lose. They decide, okay, they trade James Harden. Now they got Ben Simmons. All right, we're gonna have Ben Simmons. We're gonna do good. And then they play with Ben Simmons this year, and they're actually good. Like I mean, they start to gel. And then Kyrie, and I saw some today where he was like, "Yeah, I just never felt fully. I felt disrespected being in
Well,
Brooklyn.
really.
Yet they disrespected him. Like they didn't really want me. That they like tolerated me, and I don't want to be tolerated. I want to be wanted for my skills. Fair enough, fair. Except for again, it's hard for people to forgive things that you're doing. Now, again, I don't think Kyrie's a bad person. I mean, I know people are like all this stuff, but I want my team, my basketball teams that win, they don't have this drama. They don't have drama. And again, people say it's media driven. It's not media driven. You can go on the line of all the different teams he's been in and all the different things that have happened. And this that's happening now is a prime example of his drama. So
Hmm.
comes to this trade. I think the Mavs are going to, I think Kyrie's going to do great for Dallas, actually. Two reasons. I'm going to get very basketball specific for people, and then you can nerd out. Kyrie is like top five. Kyrie and Luke are like top five in isolation baskets in the NBA. But what's interesting is they both like to isolate on different sides of the court. Kyrie likes his
Yeah.
isolation on the right side and Luke on the left. Why does that seem to matter? Well, that means they don't have to switch up anything that they're doing. And they're really going to get isolation ball because you can't double both of them. So
Right.
there there's going to be literally zero adjustment to how
Hmm.
they play, and they're actually going to be able to play to their strengths. So I think offensively, these guys are going to be unstoppable. I mean, it doesn't mean they're going to win the championship, but I do think that they're going to score a ton of points. I don't know what you're going to be able to do against them because you already can't stop Luka, and then you're going to give Kyrie the ball. But that being said, they still need defenders. They still need rebounders. They don't have that, so they're not going to win it all. They're going to win one playoff series, in my opinion, and they're going to lose in the next round to the teams that are better built. The Nets. So you say they lost. I actually don't know how much they lost. So it really it comes down to KD. If KD is engaged, he's still, arguably the best player in the league. I mean, you can make arguments. I mean, he's at least top five. So Ben Simmons, he played tonight a little bit. It looked like he looked like he was kind of playing a different role, like actually pushing the ball and passing to people. And now you got good spot up shooters and guys that are not going to hold the ball. Because I also think that's part of the issue, especially when you start to play Boston or those types of teams. Kyrie holds the ball, and though he scores, he struggled in the playoffs because the playoffs are different, right? It's not open floor. The floor gets constricted, right? And then you got all this length. Now you got um what's the name? Dinwiddie that can hit shots. You got Finney Smith that can hit shots, and now you can put him in who's a better defender than the other guys that can score, and he can still hit shots. So that actually increases their ability to play defense. But the gem that I think they found in the last three games is a guy that's been on their own team this whole time. His name is Cam Thomas. He was a first round pick, and for some reason, I don't know if it's because, again, they had Kyrie, they had all these people, and they just didn't play him. He has
Right.
had three straight, even tonight, three straight 40 plus point games
Oh, he was always
in a row.
scoring in LSU.
That
Like
guy
I
can put the ball in
didn't.
the hoop.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying he's going to need to score 40 points a game for them, but their issues kind of were like, okay, when Kyrie and KD are on the court, like how are they going to score? You actually got a guy on your bench that you can come in and he's going to give you instant buckets. They cannot stop him. I've watched these games. He's you're not stopping him basically. So I think if they buy into the defense, understand that KD is the guy that they can play with, and I think there will be basically where they were before the trade anyway, which I don't think they were a championship team. I think they were going to be the fourth, third, they were going to get to the second round and they weren't going to beat Boston. They weren't going to beat Milwaukee. They maybe could have beat Philly if they played them, maybe, but I wouldn't have bet on it,
Right,
right?
right.
So they're not beating Boston or Milwaukee. They're gonna have to probably play one of those teams clearly to get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm,
They weren't gonna get there anyway, in my
right.
opinion. So to summarize, I think the trade, happy for Kyrie, enjoyed Dallas and the taxes. I actually hope he does well. Um,
Mm,
and I think he will because if he doesn't do well, he's done. And then he's not getting paid, and he needs to get paid. So just like he balled out
right.
this year, and this was his best year statistically in terms of points, rebounds, and assists, or whatever, and efficiency, he's gonna ball out over there because he has no choice. If he
Right.
doesn't, he's not getting paid. So
Well, yeah, I don't care about Kyrie anyway, but we just have to talk about it.
yeah,
It's
we gotta
football.
talk about it. And I'm really interested to see all these trades. I mean, there was another trade. It was like, Deadman from Miami got traded to San Antonio for like um basically cash
Oh, the
consideration.
center? Oh, the
Yes.
center Devin?
Yeah,
Okay.
Dwayne Deadman. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the
that
way I
was
yeah.
so that was the
Yeah.
other trade. I mean, I don't think there's been any other trade since, but there will be some trades. I think that'll occur. We'll talk about the trades and the trades that occurred and the Super Bowl on our next show.
Right. All right.
All right. Well, thanks, Thomas, for joining. In the hotel room. I brought my
Right.
solidarity with you. I was like, I won't be in, in the den. So
Yeah.
be comfortable.
All right. Well, take care, everybody. And go Eagles. Can't stand the KC. All right.
All right, guys.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.